we polled our CinemaStory family company and asked them to anonymously ask us any questions that they may have buried deep, deep, deep down in their closet.
All right, Joey, spit your poetry.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I did tell a couple people in the company that you did some spoken word.
Oh, yeah.
And that you DJ'd and was into music.
Oh,
and
man.
so I know I feel like so many.
This
I think I
is-
told the producers that, so I'm sure it's got to be one of our producers that put that.
This
in
has
there
got
for
to
you.
be a Keeneland question straight up for
Mhm.
sure.
What you got?
Oh, man. I definitely need to reference some notes.
Uh,
Oh, you know that like when you're about to get on stage and like you feel your like
you nervous?
heart swelling up? I'm like,
wait, I hear it.
like, wait a minute.
Do you hear that? That's
trying
Joey's
to-
heart.
Yeah, that's my heart right now. What was this song? Okay, I just found the name of the song. Let me see if I can pull it because I don't remember the lyrics right now.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. This is a historical moment
So
on the Rough Cut Club.
I have close to 150 songs that I have written in my iPhone, all unreleased, which is pretty crazy.
Are we getting a first peek here?
I'm trying to remember.
When's the last time you wrote a song?
That's actually a really good question. I stopped right my senior year of college. So from 16 years old to 21 was when I like last stopped writing.
There you go. See, college and career are dream crushers.
Yeah, no doubt. Seriously, I'm trying to find my notes app because I have multiple notes apps, and I'm literally trying to find the notes that have the lyrics to them, and I straight up can't. This is bad. Okay. Oh man, this is really rough for me. I don't know why, but this is not my favorite thing that I've ever done on this podcast.
Love this. This is making my day.
Oh my
See
gosh.
you blush and sweat so much.
I'm definitely doing it. I'm trying to find a date on this, but I'm pretty sure this is.
Wait, tell me again. How many songs have you recorded or written down?
Yeah, so I've written somewhere between like 130 and 150 songs, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I wrote music for 6 years, and I was more into. I felt more connected to doing spoken word poetry, but I did hip hop music for a long time. That's like my roots to getting into. My roots to getting into just filmmaking.
I hope there's a video.
So not
somewhere
ready
on
for
the
this.
internet.
Whoever wrote this question, like y'all are definitely not my friend right now.
He's coming for you.
But
He's
you know
coming
what's
out.
crazy? When I was at UNT, I actually like flippantly submitted to be in the talent show there, and they had like 2 categories, and I won both of them. At
Let's
the
go.
UNT talent show, won $1,000 for spoken word poetry.
Bro, let's go.
Which is crazy,
You got that
right?
one queued up?
It's not that one, but it's a different one.
All right, hit us.
Oh gosh, I'm about to spit a 16, which if you don't know what that means 16 bars.
Okay.
From like 10 years ago when I was a starving artist back in the day.
It. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh man, it sounds better. Could I just play the recording? Or should I just spit the 16?
I think you should spit it.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is bad. This is bad. I don't know if I can do it. All right. Here we go.
Best episode ever.
Oh shoot. Gosh, all right, I gotta. Lately, I've been spending money like it ain't mine and working extra like I'm trying to meet a deadline. Cause honestly, I'm more worried about how I spend time. I'm not complacent spectating from the sideline. I'm in a crazy place. Man, I've come so far. Somewhere between being a star and having to starve. But will I ever make it? Man, sometimes I gotta wonder. It's so hard to float when everybody trying to push you under. They don't know me and they don't know that. I've been underestimated my whole life. And in fact, every single non-believer praying I'm held back gave me the motivation to get where I'm at. So I don't care what you think. I'ma do it my way. I could never blend in, but it's fine by me. Now I think I like who I'm becoming, cause all I ever wanted was to be something. Hey, I got big plans, but I'm moving subtle. Yo, I ain't even gotta flex, they can see the muscle. But that's what happens when you work until daylight and start mixing hella early mornings with late nights. Now every day my lust for life always seems to grow. For years I've been creeping up but stayed on the low. One day I'ma make it out and that's all I know. I got love for my city but got to go.
Let's go, bro. Come on,
Oh,
dude.
man.
You have me like I'm pumped up over here. Let's jam it.
Hey, there
I
we
feel
go,
like
man.
all right. Somebody that's watching this episode, please remix that. Like throw some beat behind it.
Man.
Like let's make this
I
go
got it
viral,
recorded, man.
Yeah,
Once
dude.
upon a time, bro, I used to write, man.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, bro.
Yeah, that was a really weird experience for me. I was not planning to do that when I woke up this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Now-
man. Huh? I did, you know, it was kind of cool.
Have you ever spit
Yeah.
bars for Sydney?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
We've had a couple of drunken freestyles.
Yeah.
But, never
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
She has no idea what's in my phone.
Oh, that's great. We're gonna
No
have to
idea.
we're gonna splice
From
that.
a songwriting perspective.
We're gonna splice
she's got
that out.
access to everything else. Yeah.
Clarify. She has
Yeah.
access. That's awesome.
Oh man, used to be a rapper, but I'm
Oh.
not anymore.
Dude, I love that. I learned more and more about you and the talents.
Yeah.
Like you are a creator, Joey.
Thanks.
You really are. Like, you know, maybe you should pick up the music again, dude. I don't know, dabble a little bit. But let me tell you this: when I came over to your house one time, and you're like, I was like, dude, what is this art on the wall? And you're like, oh, I'm like trying to like create art for my,
Yeah.
you know. I'm just like, dude, this guy is a creator, right?
Thank you, man.
You do film. You make art for your freaking wall, and it looks dope. It's
Thanks,
out
dude.
there. It's different. It's cool. It's textures and stuff. And then you know you got this talent of spitting some bars, bro. So, anyways, no, like I'm glad you shared that, and you
Thanks,
feel
man.
exhilarated.
Yeah. it
Get
was
your heart
fun,
racing
man.
a little bit. Come on.
I will say that I used to love writing, and it's one of the things that I miss doing. Because while I, you know, was never Drake or some incredible MC, I really found a lot of music is kind of like just like, you know, everyone says like you should journal more, you know what I mean? And whenever like you're a songwriter, like you really practice journaling, but you do it in an artistic way. And I found like I was so connected to how I was really feeling and experiencing like pain or hardship or the wins or whatever. Like when these things are happening in your life, you just write about them and they come out in song form. And at that time it was like, dude, I was hungry. Like I was poor. I was broke. I was like ready to work and grind. And,
True art comes from, or
Yeah,
some
it
of the
was
best
just-
art comes from places of pain.
yeah. And it was
and
just
challenge.
expression. And it's like, it may not be, you know, some amazing thing, but it was like, I just felt very connected to, you know, what I was experiencing in life and feeling going through college. And I miss writing, not even to just like, you know, make some career out of it, but it was just like, it was healthy expression.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, it was
It's therapeutic.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway, shout out
that's
to the
right.
homies I made music with back in the day. I've always wanted to know, Shane, about your trips to India and South America. Tell me about when you filmed there.
Is that a write-in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I don't have that one over here.
Yeah. That's right.
Wait, again, India and South America, and what was the second part?
Like when you filmed there, tell me about your trips there.
Oh man, that's a whole episode. But so I'll keep it brief.
Yeah.
I went to India starting in 2014. I went every year around beginning of January to film widows, orphans, and lepers in India. We would go to Vizag or Visakhapatnam. Oh my gosh, I did not say it right. It had been gone too long. We call it Vizag for short. And then Eluru is a small town where there was a orphanage there. And we would film and make a promo video to take back to the United States to show where donors' money had gone to support orphans, widows, and these leper colonies, bro, still
Dude,
exist.
I learned about leprosy like within the last like few months, even more so than I ever had before. Leprosy is wild.
Yeah.
It's wildly just inconceivable, like what people are still going through that have it. Like,
oh yeah,
they just start losing limbs and like
you
it's
can't
awful.
feel.
It's
you
awful.
can't feel your skin. So like we would be in these leper colonies, and people would they'd put their hand right in the fire. Like this guy that we had interviewed, he'd put his hand in the fire, hold it, because they don't feel that pain, but your body still reacts to it, right? So then how they lose the limbs is they have an injury, it gets infected, and then they have to amputate. And so they just like after a while, you see, no fingers, then no hands, then sometimes a whole arm, whole leg. It's hard, man. And in the United States, I guess, we have vaccines and stuff now for it, or treatment even for it. But in India, it's like, why hasn't this been eradicated? There's still like new cases, even though they don't say, that it is. But so it's still contagious when the person is recently sick. Because we would go to these leper colonies and we didn't know, like, we were there with a ministry team, and so we're filming them, and they're reaching out and touching them and praying for them. And I mean, it was just powerful stuff, dude, because you saw people that didn't really know, and they're like, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to do this because I feel led to do this, and I want to minister to these people. Wow. And it was powerful. And, and then, you're kind of like, okay, I'm waiting for like a little, because it's a little white patch that pops up. And so, we had people on the trip being like, oh, I'm worried. We found out later, like, it's only really contagious when they're first contagious. Well, I was making a documentary one year. We started making a documentary too during these 3 years that I went, and I was making a documentary, and I went into a room where they were contagious and sneezing. And I was with Tammy Lane, who we've worked on a feature film with, and she and I were in there, and we were getting footage because this was like some really good, like, this is hard, man, in these little villages, and we're showing what needs to be done and contributions that we can do, and ministering to them and stuff. And this guy starts sneezing, and Tammy bolts out the door. She's like, I'm out. And she goes, and I'm like, I don't really catch on. I'm filming, and then I walk out, and she's like, he's like, freshly, and I'm all like waiting for the white patch to pop up. But it was dude, India is wild, bro. Wow. Probably some of my most vibrant memories is from those trips to India. Met so many interesting people, have so many crazy stories. Like I've seen National Geographic type villages, like barely, not, I wouldn't say unreached people, because they have been, they've met, other people before, but very tribal. And we would go out and do, mission work there and film, I'd take the drone up, and all the kids would be running, and it was just so fun, dude. It was a great time, and you really felt like we were making an impact, and in ways. And I've been in the middle of riots in India. I've been in, I actually subcontracted with my third year, feeling real confident. I subcontracted with another nonprofit that wanted to fly me down to Madurai, which is south tip of India. By the way, India is so much bigger than the United States. Billions of people in India alone. So many different languages. Like, I don't even, like, there's like 4 or 5 main languages, but then there's like 100+ languages and dialects. Wow. And so I fly down to Madurai. I'm like, hey, I have to have, my rider, let's call it. I have to have a translator. He has to meet me at the airport. I need to be taken to, the place, and then I need a off-site place where I can actually plug in power and charge batteries and transfer data, because I was making a little promo piece for this nonprofit. And that, man, we won't even go into that. I saw some crazy things in Madurai, but it's one of those things where I get there and my translator spoke 5 words of English, and I never felt more alone for like 5-6 days filmmaking, because it was just me. And then 1 or 2 people at the nonprofit could speak English very well, but I barely ever saw them because they were busy running the nonprofit. And so, and this is there's cell phones and stuff, but you're on the other side of the world, so you're not really communicating with people until, maybe at the early morning for them. So there's not a lot of back and forth. It's more like, I'm going to drop you a note and then I'm going to read like whatever you said your day was like. And so totally eye-opening.
Wow.
After that, went to South America and did Mission Reality, which is a reality TV show about mission work, nonprofit work, and went to San Pedro Sul, which is in it is the #1 murder capital of the world, or at the time was. Every 14 minutes somebody gets executed, murdered, homicide. And that was an experience walking around. You go to a restaurant, in the restaurant there's 5 dudes with AK-47s and bandanas, and you're like, are we safe here? This looks like terrorists. And they're like, no, these guys are here for you. They're here to protect you.
Wow.
Because there's bandits that come in and rob. So like, we're gonna go eat, and then when y'all leave, like, they're actually here to like run security for the restaurant.
Whoa.
Crazy stuff. Then Panama City and Panama. Beautiful place, great people. Did a helicopter, flew in helicopters over volcanoes to a remote location to go film the mission work. Blast. That was my first time riding a helicopter. It was actually the same company. It's Helicopters de Guatemala or something that Devin Supertramp had used.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, did y'all meet Devin? Like, at that time, like, I was watching all of his stuff as well. This is like 2015, 14, 15, 16, something like that. And anyways, so out of India, we got, a documentary that never really kind of finalized. We did a lot of promo content that did get out and, made an impact on the country. I would love to finish that India documentary. We actually had some really interesting stories. The footage is so old. It's the GoPro Phantom stuff. And then out of Central America was Mission Reality that is, I think it's called Millions from One. It's about 5 episodes. I actually ended up editing it as well. So I was like the DP tech. I had a team of like 4 people. And so that I ran a reality TV show basically.
Wow.
And didn't know what I was doing, and had a quick learn and study. Had good experts there. Tammy, again, she had been making the shows for a while and had her process. And that's on Amazon. And then I think it's on Amazon Prime and Apple and all that stuff. So you can kind of get it on demand and watch it. But those are circa old school. But man, some of my favorite memories. And I've always wished that I've had the opportunity to send you to do something like that, because
would love to, bro.
They're life-changing. Life-changing. And I think in multiple ways, not only on a film way, because you go, oh, I got to remember like different plugs and like I got all these adapters and like, what am I going to do in this situation, right? And like, do I keep filming or do I put the like ethical decisions? Do I help or do I film it? And like, what is making the bigger impact in this moment where like a riot's happening and you're like, this is great content, and but is it moving the story forward and is it valuable on a bigger scale, or is there something I need to do as a human being in this moment that goes beyond what I'm trying to do on this, scale of making entertainment that makes a difference as well. So that in a nutshell, I said short story. That was like a medium story. I apologize. I get amped about that, man.
Dude, it's awesome, man. You got me fired up to want to go out into a third world country and just experience it like that, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. This is another write-in for both of us. How would we feel if a client took our videos and made them into AI software to generate more videos without you? Oh, this is kind of like on our Sora AI episode we put out recently.
So if they took our videos, gave it to Sora to learn from, and had Sora making videos in our style without us?
Yeah. I was about to say, like, all right, Joey, imagine your cinematography. Somebody goes, cool, I'm going to take this and now make duplicates or copies and make stock footage. I don't need you. I don't need to hire you.
I feel like imitation is the highest form of flattery, my friend, even if it's from a robot.
That's good.
I honestly, the future just doesn't scare me, man. If it starts to do that, then that means that I can do I can have a computer make my art, and takes me half the time. No, not really, but honestly, I don't think it would bother me that much.
On the art side, that's good. I think on the business side, I think I'm with you. It's like I always see it as like, well, those aren't my clients anymore.
Yeah.
And there's another bunch of clients. It goes back to the race to the bottom mentality. Oh, it's too low of a rate. Like, why are the young people doing that? I'm like, those aren't your clients. You don't need to be going after the $800 days or videos like that. Like, why are you even worried or concerned about that? So when the AI takes over, whatever it does, then we're going to be on and doing something different too.
I think, and I talked about this on another episode with AI, but I think that I will really have a way to leverage AI video as a tool when I can import my footage into some sort of software and then manipulate it or create stuff with it. And so it's not that I would feel like weird about it at all. I would finally feel like it arrived at a point to where I can leverage it.
Dude, I don't want to like be off on this, but I saw a post about there was some sort of AI, like you could input your content after we did the episode. So Sora, thank you for listening to our episode.
Literally.
But I saw it a post on Instagram, and I wanted to dive in deeper, but they buried the link, and I had to. But it was like you can input your photo and create a whole video around your image. Yeah. I was like, dope. This is where we're going.
And that's where I feel like I can really utilize it as a tool.
Yeah.
So,
all right, I got one for you.
Okay.
It says, how do you persevere when your career felt slow or when things weren't happening the way you wanted it to? This is for both of us, but I think you can kick this off.
When my career feels slow, it's an opportunity for me to think about ways to get on the offense. So often in the business, we're on the reactive side of things. Oh, this client hit me up. Oh, I have this edit that's due at this point in time. Oh, I am just trying to keep up with everything that's going on. But if it's slow, it's a time to look at the business, the processes, the marketing, the your reels, the social content that you're creating, and really get on the offense. And I find that so often I have a to-do list of to-dos that have been sitting there for a year plus sometimes. And it's a time for me to look at those to-dos that are on the low and slow list and really check some of those boxes that I've wanted to check for a long time. And oftentimes I feel like, wow, had I just taken like 3 hours, like 2 years ago, this wouldn't have been taking up real estate in my brain for years and years and years and thinking about it on the back burner. And so I actually love when I get into seasons where I'm slow, because I'm like, okay, how much stuff on my to-do list can I clear out? What things can I create? What new business ideas can I pursue that allow me to feel like I have time? Let me utilize it wisely.
Dude, nailed it. Yeah, so true. I think you're 100% on. And I would say, like, if you're in the early stages, because I can identify, I remember when I first started, 2010 through 2013, even into 14, debt, anxiety, like the failure complex, right? Of like, man, I don't think I'll ever, like, I'm not getting the clients. I'm not going to hang in there because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right.
And it is hard to get established. It is hard, but it's totally worth it. And it's for those who persevere and push through.
Yeah.
Would I do things differently? Probably wouldn't have like gone into as much debt with gear, although it was different then. Now you can start with your iPhone, right? You could be a content creator and there's jobs and positions out there for that now. So, but dude, I think you nailed it. It's actually, when it's slow, it's awesome.
And I do want to preface, because you brought up a good point, because when you're always busy, it's awesome to get your time back. When you're not always busy, persevering through those times is a lot more difficult, because you're like, I just want to be busy for the first time or something like that. And I do want to show sympathy there, because I have been in that place and you've been in that place, and we still sometimes
get it. There's remember those months. It's been a bit, but it's been a month where we're like, dude, we don't have anything on the calendar this entire month.
So let's work on the infrastructure
and let's shoot some content.
Yeah.
And that's how we look at it. We go, hey, you know what? It's going to come.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to come.
And one of the things that we tried to do during that period was shoot some spec work. And it was like, dude, this is an opportunity to be creative and pursue things that there is no client attached to, but that we can put out and people then begin to rebrand us as the guys that do this level of spec work.
Yes.
And so I think it's, it can be scary when money's not coming in and whatnot, but the focus should always be on how can I utilize this time wisely right now, because there are a few assets. I forget how it goes, but like there's money, there's time, and something else. But like if you don't have one, it's time to go all in on the other. So like if you don't have time, you're making money. But if you're not making money, you have time. How can you utilize that time to then continue to make more money? I don't know. I said it backwards, but you get the idea.
I feel it. I feel that balancing act. What is a film that you think deserves a remake?
That's a good question.
Ben-Hur. That's mine.
Okay.
I don't know if they could do it as well, but epic period piece. What you got? Are you about to say Terminator?
No. No.
Now that you said it.
Yeah, now that you said it. No, that's one of those films that needs to stop being remade.
Yeah.
And it was so good, and then they're watering it down, and they should have stopped a few movies back. Once I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger flying through the sky, I was at like 75 years old. I was like, dude, we gotta stop this.
Ruined it for you.
Dude, all right, I got one. You've never seen this movie, I guarantee you, but my grandparents, they had this movie that was probably made, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say in like it was in the black and white movie era days. But like color still wasn't around, still black and white film. And it was called Them. And it was all about this movie with like these, it sounds crazy, but it's like these crazy, crazy big ants. And it sounds like a silly sci-fi movie, but the way they did it was horrifying. And it was like just a crazy movie to be made, especially back then. And I grew up watching it all the time. And if they could remake that movie nowadays, I think it would be insane.
We're going to remake it.
I would love to. And dude, I haven't, in fact, I just want to like watch the old one again because I haven't seen it since I was a little kid. But Them was 1954, bro. 1954. It was insane. But they should definitely remake that movie.
I've heard of it, and I feel like I could see some of the imagery, but I definitely didn't relive that over and over again. But yeah, I'll have to check it out.
I don't know. I could definitely come up with a better answer than that, but
that's a great one, man. I think that's something that definitely the Ben-Hur is hard because it's such a good movie. Look at this picture.
They were like giant robotic ants back in the day,
I do remember
and
this.
probably were like miniatures and stuff like that. But it was like, dude, it was a horrifying movie.
Yeah.
As a kid to watch that,
oh,
it'd be so good now.
Yeah, that's great.
1954. Anyway.
All right, Bella. So I think we had a couple like last minute write-ins potentially. Any other questions before we wrap this 2-part episode?
For Joey, one question that someone has, they want to know more about your gear. How do you really feel about the importance of lenses? What are some of your recommendations? Are you a huge nerd about them? You're the VP, the go-to guy for that kind of information. So people want to know.
It's a good question. I've become a little bit less of a gearhead the older I got, or the more I've been doing this. And one of the interesting things, I have 2 camera kits. I have 2 Sony FX3s that I use if I need to do like something simpler with a smaller mirrorless camera. That's not shooting on this big boy back here, which is slow and gorgeous, but just big and bulky and takes time. So if I need to do something fast with the lightweight camera, I'm using the Sony FX3s and they're phenomenal cameras. But if I'm shooting anything narrative or commercial or something, I'm going to use this guy because I do like the red raw codec and just having a raw image to work with and the more information that's there and all that good stuff. And I just love the red codec. But the thing about owning a red that has really been challenging for me is that I find that in owning certain pieces of gear that you use all the time, it does limit my mind to what I'm open to using for a project, which has been really something interesting to me. Because if a commercial comes up where maybe an Arri Alexa is the right tool for the project, I'm going to be slightly more inclined to pick the tool that I already have access to rather than what may be the perfect tool for the job. And I found that being an owner operator, that can kind of be a crutch that has hindered the art a little bit. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I don't fully want to own a set of cinema lenses, because even more so than the camera, the lenses actually influence the overall image, in my opinion, more so than the camera. But owning certain pieces of gear, while there's a beautiful thing in having access to those tools and you can just use them to create high quality images, if you utilize them for every single project, your art, the box in which you create art in, gets smaller. And I have had more freedom using different brushes and brush strokes with different tools that I don't own. And I've found a lot more fulfillment in utilizing stuff that I rent and get to like experiment with. And so while I think that there's like a certain base kit that is really healthy to have and to own, if you only use the stuff that you own, it puts your creativity in a box that I have found that I don't enjoy being in as much. And so I do think that there's a certain baseline of gear that's important, but I also think that when it comes to cameras and lenses specifically, the more that you can be free to just choose what's right for the project, the more you will create like a real artist and not just with the tools that you have access to.
Answer of the podcast, dude. That's great.
Thanks, man.
I didn't know your perspective. I feel like your perspective has shifted a bit,
Well,
and that's good.
yeah.
And like you said, you get more experience and you see
Yeah.
that. And I would add on too, sometimes it's a good business move to have
Totally.
it. But then you're right. It's like, well, I want this red
Right.
to play, or is something different that I'm not considering because I'm not being open to it. So that's awesome, man. It's
Yeah.
very mature to look at it that way, because it's actually looking at it through the lens of art,
Right.
and not looking at it through the lens of business.
And that's where I'm like, there's a certain baseline. Like if you're going to be a filmmaker, I would recommend owning a camera and a set of lenses. But when it comes to like the really, really expensive stuff that, like a set of cinema lenses, I actually really do like the DZO Vespids because they're like the super economical, gorgeous lens that you can still feel like you own, but like experiment outside of the box. But if you go and invest in like,
Cook.
like a set of Cook lenses, you're not going to want to shoot anything but Cook lenses because you just dropped, 50 G's or whatever it is on like, or more,
on a lens.
yeah, on a lens. And it's like, dude, you want to use it. But, one of the things that I have found is that the more stuff that I own, the less that I want to experiment with other different brushstrokes. So I think investing in a good baseline kit is great, but also as a DP, really not getting tied down to the gear you own will help you really create with the right brushstrokes for the project, as opposed to what you just have access to.
Brilliant.
What is a story, book, or true story that is a dream for you to adapt into a movie?
That is a dream. Book or true story? Okay, so I guess like a historical piece or a book that's already been written. Man, all I read is business and marketing books, so I can't really go for the fiction side. Man, I've read a lot of like World War II books, or I used to, and definitely would love to do something like that. But then there's the Pacific and Band of Brothers. They already made the movies.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just gonna go deep here. Really, the story of Paul from the Bible, I think, could be super relatable to the general consensus of like what Christianity is perceived to be.
Yeah.
And I think Paul, Saul's conversion to Paul, right, and then his story and journey. What's really cool is like, dude, Paul went through some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And Saul like went through some like there was some like it would be a pretty graphic film
For sure.
and I think it shows just the whole trajectory change in a person. And I think it would be something that I would love to create. I think there has been some kind of faith-based films that have been made on it, but something that could be consumed from a general public standpoint. That would have kind of that narrative tied into it. I'd love to do that.
It's good, man. I don't think that I have one that I can think of right now. Like, nothing's coming to mind.
Not the Joey Nicotra. Dude, the mafia story of Joey Nicotra.
It's The Godfather.
Yeah. Oh, they already made the movie.
Right. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, man. I'm struggling on that one.
We'll come back to it.
We'll come back to that one. I'll have an answer for you eventually on that one.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Shane, please spend 5 minutes gushing about your kids.
Wait, we doubled up on me? Oh man. Okay.
Oh, I think I missed a question, but
I'll jump in. Dude, I could talk about my kids all day. So
make it like
I'm gonna
60 seconds.
I'm gonna make 60 seconds. Kaya, she's absolute my little princess. She is 20 months right now at the time of this podcast. She's a daddy's girl. Like, she's starting to say those words and put little sentences together. Last night, she and I were like singing songs together, and she can sing like the last word of each of the verse or like of a line of a song. So adorable. And I'm like, it's so cool to see like, oh, like probably by next week you're gonna be singing the whole like song with me. And so just watching that progress, she's absolutely adorable. Love her. And then Parker, our little squish little baby, she's 4 months ish now. Be 5 months, I guess.
She's the bean.
She's the bean. Yeah, we call Kaya Beanie. She's
Kaya's
the bean. Yeah, and then we call Parker Bunny.
That's right.
But yeah, it's hard because you just want to call them little beans. They're little beanies. Yep. And she's dude, she is such a good-natured baby.
It's awesome.
Like,
man.
doesn't cry much. She just sits there and smiles at you. Like, literally, I get baby fever again just holding Parker.
Wow.
Like, she's just in that super fun, like, I'm just hold me and like love on me. Where Kaya is in that like, I'm gonna run around and terrorize everything and climb up on something and nosedive off the table. Please catch me phase. And you're like, oh, can we stay out of the ER, please? So yeah, that's good, man. That's my 60.
I love it. You did great.
All right. What's a memory from your childhood that reshaped you or made you grow? Oh, this is a deep one. I think something from my childhood that reshaped me or made me grow was just the instillment. Is that the right word? I don't think that's the right word, but my parents were very supportive of entrepreneurship. So like my very first job that I was making money for, I was mowing yards, and then next thing you know, I was like cutting down trees, and I was hiring more people because I had too many yards to mow. So I was replicating myself. And my dad owned his own business, and so like they were really supportive of that. And I think because of that support, and like working at an early age too. I mean, I was like 14, doing this, 15. I was also making brochures. So, this might be the thing. I was making a brochure. I wanted to make a brochure to go door to door, okay, and hand out for my yard service because I wanted to get more clients. So marketing at like 15 years old.
Yeah.
And this lady from the church, I believe, like gave me this brochure that somebody had left on her door, and she was like, "I just think this is the cutest thing, it's funny." And it sounded like Bill Clinton voice there, but I don't know why she sounded like that. But it was like poop pickup, like it was dog poop pickup. It was a service that they would come to, and I've seen it now. It's still like a thing, but they would come to your house and pick up all the dog poop in the backyard because you didn't want to do it, and they charge you like $20 or whatever. I was like, dude, anyways, the way they did that flyer was so hilarious. I still remember it to this day, dude, and I was 15.
Dang.
the way they like it was like a story. It was a journey. It made you laugh. You know, it was like we show up and we like picking up poop. You know, and like you know, don't step in it and all this stuff. And you're just like, we got a little chuckle out of it.
That's funny.
And so I made my lawn mowing flyer in the same format of like funny. I'm trying to you know make jokes and kind of tell a story. And that influenced, I think, my marketing strategy even to this day of like, you know, lacing in story. And sometimes I'm like, all right, like hold back the cheese, bro. Like, you know, not everybody, you know, wants humor or campiness along with their marketing strategy.
Yeah. I would say that, honestly, like watching both my parents and grandparents as a kid, like identifying the strong suits that each one of them individually had that everyone else appreciated or didn't like. I really took hold of those as a kid. And, you know, my work ethic comes from my dad. My personality comes from my mom. My charity comes from my grandfather. My nurturing comes from my grandmother. And like all of these like different individual things, like they were all like just so like you recognizable for one area of their life, and like you admired that. And so I think I pulled a lot of my personality from my parents and grandparents, and seeing the very best and worst pieces of them and seeing what I wanted to adopt most. So I don't know if it's one story necessarily, but my parents and grandparents definitely made a big impact in shaping the things that I liked most about them as people, or things that I didn't like most about them, and how I act today.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good shout out there. Mafia fam.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Mr. and Mrs. Nicotra. I love you guys. We got one more from Bella.
Okay.
When's the next time that we're going to have like a company picnic, fun day, whatever, in order for everyone to see each other again?
Shane?
So the question, just in case you couldn't hear it, was when is the next company gathering, fun outing? You know, so circa 2021, I think we were trying to do events. I'm big about, you know, having people in relationship. We're all like these freelancers. We have some staffers, but we're all remote currently at this point. You know, sometimes we do temp office and stuff. And so it's like, get people in community. And circa 2021, we were doing once a month. And then we just had people drop off. I think people get busy. And so we're trying to find that sweet spot. But I'll throw it back to you, Bella. When are you and the other APs, the other producers, when y'all are ready to put together the next event and organize it? That's when we'll do the event, because I'm all for it. And I will be there. But I think the last one I had to miss because Kaya was sick. This was probably about 6 months ago. Y'all did an escape room. There's so many inside jokes that I like missed out on. Like Nick,
keys.
One of our gaffers, brings like a bag of keys and gives Joey a key every time. Y'all have to ask them about the story. But I feel so left out. And that's a great question. I love the culture at our company, and we need to invest more time in that. So, I mean, if we want to bring back disc golf tournaments all day, I'm ready.
We got to get the company basketball tournament going on. That's what I'm thinking needs to happen.
Yeah. Love it. Great question, Bill.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, this was a great episode. Enjoyed getting to learn more about you.
Yeah, you too, man. And hearing the poetry. And big shout out to Bella for organizing this special episode series. We surveyed all of our employees, contractors, friends, got some of these questions together, and it's been a blast. Like you said, man, kind of finding out some personality and growth stories from each other.
Yeah. Well, dude, it was great getting to learn more about you in this episode, man. And shout out to the team that helped put this together and all the people that asked questions on this episode. I look forward to the next time that we get to do an episode like this. And if you're still with us, we're glad that you stayed till the end of the episode, because you got to hear me rap for the first time in like 10 years, bro. Oh, man. Anyway. Good times, bro.
Yeah. If you have a question you want answered on maybe a future Q&A, DM our Instagram account. Bella, who is our podcast producer, will be able to collect that data. Maybe we'll do another Q&A down the road. And I'm sure she'll maybe post a form at some point so that you can participate. Please comment on this episode if you have anything that you want to say to Joey or I about the answers that we tragically answered.
Tragically.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us on this other episode of the Rough Cut Club, and we'll see you next time.